Something super exciting happened earlier this week.
Hello.
Hello, Austin. My interview with Austin Wintory. Austin is a prime model of what it means to be a composer. His score for Journey was the first video game soundtrack to ever garner a Grammy nomination in the Best Score Soundtrack for Visual Media category in 2012. This helped pave the way for the creation of a new Grammy category in 2022, Best Score Soundtrack for Video Games and Other Interactive Media. But that's enough of me describing Austin. I'll let my past self take over from here. Take it away, me. Austin Wintory is a true paragon of media scoring, especially when it comes to video games, having penned magnificent scores for titles such as Journey, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and Towerborn. He's additionally written music for other mediums such as Star Wars Rogue One writer Gary Whitta's audiobook called Gundog, and the live art and music improvisation collaboration that called Dialogos that Austin performed with his now wife, artist extraordinaire Angela Bermúdez. Austin has so graciously agreed to sit down with me and answer a few questions that I prepared for him. Austin, it's an absolute honor to be speaking with you here today and to officially meet you.
The pleasure is mine.
Here's some more of Austin's credits. I've listened to a lot of interviews that Austin's done over the years, but there were some elements of his scoring work that I never felt clear on, so I decided to ask him questions that could reveal details regarding those topics. He seemed to appreciate that I'd done my homework. As you can see here, most of my questions dug deep in the composing or scoring weeds. For my first question, I asked him what his relationship has been like with commercially available sample libraries and virtual instruments. He told me that he only uses sample libraries in the demo process to get music greenlit for live recordings with an orchestra, but said that synthesizers or sounds he or his team create may make it into his final scores. Here's part of our conversation related to how he dabbles every so often in that.
Big gnarly brass that I recorded in Nashville for it.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of places where I want to amp that up, but I don't amp it up with samples of the brass. I would amp it up by layering it in with like sub bass analog synths or some crazy like Moog sound or something, so that it sounds massive. The brass is still the front end of the sound, but it's actually technically this kind of hybrid of different sounds that form it. That to me, all that kind of stuff is totally fair game.
Hybrid.
Really trying to make brass sound bigger by just layering on fake brass. To me, it usually makes it sound doesn't necessarily make it bigger. It just kind of makes it sound weird to my ear. But that's my taste.
Yeah. I then asked him what the balance is normally like between what he composes and what his orchestrator Susie Seiter does. To my delight, he said that he does most of the heavy lifting in terms of orchestration himself, while Susie acts more as a copy supervisor on his notated scores.
We call it orchestration because it requires a commanding knowledge of orchestration to be able to do.
Yeah.
But it's not orchestration in the sense of, writing a piano sketch and somebody deciding, okay, that line can be flute, that line can be viola, blah, blah, blah. My mock-ups contain every single detail that is going to end up on the chart.
My third question revolved around how much of the mixing of his music he does through his orchestrations compared to what audio effects he may use to mix and or touch up his scores. He said that orchestration is the cornerstone for getting a piece to sound good. In post, he often passes off his final scores to his tried and true mixer, Steve Kempster. However, Austin said that it can sometimes be more of a back and forth trade-off between them.
And then there's others where we kind of trade it back and forth, like on Aliens Fire Team.
Okay.
I did a bunch of pre-mixing. There's a lot of sound in that score. I recorded so many different instruments and so many different things. But then we also did some semi-orchestral recording. And so then I hand that to him. He makes that sound good. And then I take those and I put them back in mine and continue to mix from there. And then the final product is with me.
I somehow became even more excited about this interview when we started talking about his work on Hades 2 with composer Darren Korb.
On the one that we call Olympus Aflame, he sent this little. He was like, I kind of want to play this melody on a guitar and on a Greek bouzouki, which was this kind of like, you know, dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
He sent this little melody. It was like 6 bars with just a tune. That was it. There was no additional context, and it was like 15 seconds long. So I said, okay, let me turn this into 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, expand it, and then you know, there'd be parts where he'd go, oh, I can make the drums go wild here. So I'd say, okay, in that case, let me, you know, I can get rid of the orchestra and we can let the step forward, and you know, all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome.
Back and forth. So that it never felt like it shouldn't feel like 2 people worked on it is the goal.
Question 4 now revealed. Lastly, I asked where he finds inspiration for his music. To which he replied that it's about 30% him living in Los Angeles, going one night to a Chemical Romance concert, the next seeing the LA Philharmonic perform. For the other 70%, he had these wise words.
I think the best ideas come from outside of music entirely. From the books you read, it's from the meals you eat, the people you talk to. I travel a lot. I love traveling. And seeing the world and going places I've never been, and being around languages that I don't speak, and, you know, kind of trying to understand a little bit about them and that sort of thing. And so for me, that all fills the creative well a lot more effectively, because it's life. You know, to me, the greatest art somehow reflects, if not life itself, it reflects the artist's impressions of life. And so the goal is to just make sure that you have a bunch of life in front, that you're, you know, what, and that doesn't have to mean, you know, travel, or, you know, it could just literally mean walking down the street and just, you know, actually paying attention to what's around you.
In closing, I was quite pleased with all his responses to my questions and the golden nuggets he spread throughout the interview. I learned so much from Austin. It was also wonderful to finally meet him. I must admit, this is up there for one of my favorite moments in recent years. See you, Austin.
All right, have a good one. Very good. You got a hell of a setup there behind you.
Thank you very much. I've been working on it pretty hard for a couple years.
Yeah. Yes, there's some familiar ones in there.
Oh yeah, got some of your stuff. Some you got Jedi up there.
Yeah.
Then you got some Angela art around here.
Yes, I particularly appreciate your Star Trek: The Motion Picture. That looks like the score book.
It is, yeah. Yeah, and this is the Banner Saga hidden by the Mass Effect beanie.
Haha, nice.
Yeah, I thought I'd like kind of put it there. I don't know if you can see this, but I was just a groomsman at my friend's wedding, and it was Star Wars themed.
Excellent.
So, and I got purple because it's my favorite color.
Fantastic.
Um, but but yeah, it's wonderful to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. Thump, thump, thump. There's this piece that we call On the Coast, which is
Right.
when you finally beat the game and you wind up standing on the surface. There's like this orchestral piece that comes in where
I know it pretty well. But yeah.
So that one was a collaboration where we were already working on this record, the Songs of Supergiant.
Oh yeah, I recall listening to that.
Yeah, we were going to be recording that, and we're like, what, let's just throw some Hades in, and so he made this very simple little sketch, and then I work also with this arranger a lot named Brian LaGuardia, and I had Brian do a pass at it and play with it, and then I went through and we kind of made some tweaks and adjustments based on Darren's little simple sketch, and then for the ending credit song, he basically had a finished song, and it had the vocals and the guitars and the drums and the synths and all that, but he said, anything you want to add with the orchestra, just go for it. So I basically our ensemble, our kind of chamber orchestra we were recording for the record, and just found things to add in there. But I was very much just kind of adding another layer of paint. It was done.
Yeah.
Which is why I told him on Hades 2, let's not do that. I said, rather than you just write a finished piece and little cracks in the wall, let's build it from the ground up together, and it'll be more sort of tightly interwoven. A game like there's coming out in a few weeks is this game called Sword of the Sea with giant squid.
Oh yes, I'm excited about that.
Well, I hope we can deliver. There's plenty of samples in that because there's a lot of weird sounds that I delivered. And
nice.
That one was also kind of piano is very central to that score, but I decided to use sampled piano in that one because I kind of dialed it into such a specific sound that I could travel the world recording every piano on the earth and probably still not be fully satisfied that it sounds just like that.
Right.
All right, you know what? I'll break my normal rule, and so yeah, I think it's going to be good.